Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope everybody's enjoying a beautiful day as I am here in Northwest Connecticut. There are definitely signs of spring outside. The snowdrops are up. I'll take a picture of those and post that after the video today. The chickens are out, the songbirds are coming through, and it's a beautiful sunny day. It's about 50 degrees here, and I have to say that I am very much enjoying the weather today. And it's also the first day of the new subscription period for the Watercolor Card Club. So if you're interested in subscribing to the Watercolor Card Club, today's a great day to do that. The April registration is open, and this is going to be a really wonderful subscription period because we're going to be starting afresh with a new watercolor lesson, and each month those lessons will build one upon the other. And so for April, I'm going to be talking about form and mixing greens and all the things that you need to do to get ready for the botanical painting season. So we've got a lot of months ahead of us with all sorts of wonderful flowers coming our way. And if you'd like to begin learning how to paint those flowers, this is the perfect time to do that. So I hope you will. And I have posted the link earlier right here on this page. You can find that link, and I'll also be putting it in the description box after I do the video today. So I thought I would use this stamp set. This is called Eclectic Garden, and I chose this because I like this artichoke down here. All right, and actually I like the blueberries and the beets. These could be beets or radishes, they're related, so that could go either way there. And I've already painted this little bird, and he's very cute. So you can see that card here that I did with that little bird. But today we're going to use the artichoke, and I'm going to be using a note card sized paper this time. So the note cards are available in a pack of 20, and you can get them either in basic white or very vanilla. I like the very vanilla. And you can see that it's just a little bit smaller than the standard size cards, but these will still go through the mail, and they make wonderful little note cards to put with a package or a gift or whatever else you have going on. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I've cut a mat in soft succulent, and so this little mat is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then I have a quarter size sheet of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. So the Fluid 100 watercolor paper is 5 by 7, so this little quarter piece is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. So it's really pretty small, but it's big enough for what I want to do with it today. I've got my soft succulent ink pad, and I have my artichoke ready to go. Just going to get my stamp pad out. This is just a piercing pad actually, and it's just I have it wrapped in scrap paper, but it's just this nice dense foam that helps to give you a good impression. So I'm just going to test to see how dark this is. Well, that's just right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp my artichoke. Now, there's also a message there's this little half round sentiment which I want to use. This says thanks so much. So I'm going to put that near the top of the artichoke. So I'm going to stamp this just a little bit lower than I normally would. Here we go. And I've got my watercolors here. So I've got yellow, red, and blue. I'm going to grab my water painters. Actually, I think I'll use a watercolor brush for this one today. So for this, I'm going to use a number 4 sable watercolor brush. But if you have water painters, then you could use those too. And I would recommend starting out with the smaller one for this picture because this is so tiny. So let me zoom you in so you could get a better look. Here we go. And I'm just going to check my settings, make sure that I'm broadcasting. Yep, there we go. And Kelly's out there. Good morning, Kelly. And she's got nice weather in Wisconsin, so that's nice. What's the temperature there, Kelly? It's about 50 degrees here, which is warm for this time of year here. All right, so I'm just going to get started painting here. And this is just a little sketch. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, just adding some color. You can also use your inks for this. So if you've got your re-inkers like this handy, you can use those to paint with. They work beautifully. Those re-inkers are water-based, so they will work very much the same way that watercolors will. All right, so there is my artichoke, and I'm just going to put a few touches on there. Just want to get a little bit darker. Get that stem. I don't eat artichokes very often. I know there are people that just love them. I don't dislike them. I'm just not a huge fan, and they don't spring to mind very often when I'm shopping for vegetables. So, but they are a beautiful plant. If anybody's ever grown artichokes in the garden, you'll know that they're a very majestic plant and can be very striking in the garden. Okay, that got a little too yellow over there, so I'm just going to move that around. There we go. Now I'm going to go in with some darker green, just mixing up my dark mixture here. I'm just going to put some accent areas. That's just about done. Just a few more strokes. And that's getting kind of wet, so I'm just going to put this aside to let it dry for a minute. And I'll get my card ready. And then I'll just add the finishing touches when this is just a little more dry. Okay, so for my card, I have my cardstock mat, and again this color is Soft Succulent, and I like that it's in the green family, but it's kind of a grade green, so it's not going to jump out too quickly at you. And I'm just going to get that lined up on the front of my card. Make sure it's nice and straight. Now, if the edges of your cardstock are turning up a little bit, just take your bone folder and just press with the tip, and that will push that little edge right down and make it nice and flat. There we go. Now I want to put my sentiment on here. So I'm going to get my ink pad back out again. I just want to test that because this is the first time I'm using this stamp, so I just want to make sure that the ink is sticking to it. So that looks pretty good. All right. And then get this lined up. And the photopolymer stamp allows me to see right through it. Now this will probably not be the best impression because I'm using it on the watercolor paper, so it's got a little bit of a texture to it, so that it's not as smooth as the cardstock that we typically use for stamping, but that's okay. It gives it kind of a rustic effect, and you can still see it just perfectly to read it. All right, I think this is dry enough now that I can put those little dark accents. Let's test. Yeah, that's good. All right, so I'm just going to add a little more color here and there. One of the things that we'll be going over in the Watercolor Card Club this month, or actually in April, but it starts in March, is how to render form and how to mix greens. So this is a very important topic for anybody interested in doing botanical painting or landscape painting for that matter. So if you would like to learn more about light and shade, modeling form, how to mix your greens, this is the time to sign up. And there are a couple of different ways that you can sign up for the Watercolor Card Club. You can sign up for just the video and follow along at your leisure. Or if you're serious about learning to paint and you'd like to get the full lesson and the ability to be able to post your pictures for critique and ask questions and get assignments and various materials to make your cards, then you'll want to sign up for the full subscription. And you will find all of that information at dandelioncottagedesign.com. Just go there to my website and click on the tab that says Watercolor Card Club, and there's a lot of information there. Or you can just click on the link below after the video is done, and that will take you right there. Okay, so I think that's looking nice. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add a little bit of an embellishment to this. So let me just move the palette over and get my piercing mat out again. And what I want to do is I want to just put two little holes on either side of this artichoke stem. And I'm going to take my linen thread and I'm just going to stitch as if I were putting a button on here. And I'll go around a couple of times. I think one more. Okay. Now I'm just going to tie this in a double knot. Does everybody know how to make a square knot? You go over one way and then you go over the opposite way, and it makes a beautiful looking knot. Alright, and now I'm just going to trim those ends. Get my glue on there. I'm not going too close to the edge, just close enough so that the glue has enough room to spread without seeping out the side. And I'm mounting this so that there's a little more space on the bottom than on the top, to give it a little bit more weight on the bottom because it's just more pleasing visually. Alright, give that glue a second to set up. Burnish it down. And there is my little artichoke card. And also in the set, you also have this nice little spatter stamp, which is kind of nice, so you could use that. And there's also some splotches, which could be interesting. But I think that keeping it simple and elegant sometimes is just the best. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you'll consider subscribing to the Watercolor Card Club. It's a great way to get started on your artistic journey. And I keep it very simple as far as materials go. Just brush, paint, 3 paints, and paper. And I'll take you through all the steps of the fundamentals of fine art and watercolor painting. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.